John and I are here because after a long, dark night in which we've lost over 500,000 Americans and our economy has suffered such great loss, there is finally light at the end of this long and dark tunnel. We just wanted to take a moment to thank the people of Georgia for giving us an opportunity to represent you in the United States Senate. And early this morning, we were able to deliver on our promise to Georgia to pass historic COVID-19 relief. And Georgia, in a very real sense, is delivering relief to the whole country. $8 billion to our state and local governments right here in Georgia, some $4 billion to reopen schools, $5 billion nationally for farmers of color, $2 billion here in the state to help us finally expand Medicaid. And so help is on the way. Relief is right around the corner. And it's because of what Georgia stood up and did on January 5th. And for that, we're so grateful.
Thank you, Senator. And as Senator Warnock mentioned, this morning the United States Senate passed historic COVID relief. The United States is turning the corner in this long pandemic. This bill, when it becomes law, will deliver thousands of dollars of economic relief to working families here in Georgia. More than $4 billion to safely reopen schools right here in Georgia. This legislation, when it becomes law, will ensure every Georgian can get a COVID-19 vaccine for free. Light is indeed at the end of the tunnel. We have turned a corner. And had Georgia voters not stood up in record numbers in January, this legislation could not have been passed. And so the whole country owes a debt of gratitude to Georgia voters for empowering the United States Senate to pass this historic COVID relief. And with that, we're happy to take any questions you have.
You can go ahead, Foxfire. Can you talk about some of the changes that you guys decided on, and now it goes back to the House, and whether you're not, there's some concern of they'll accept those changes?
Well, listen, there is no question that this legislation will pass. And so it'll go back to the House. They'll pass our version. It'll go to the president. He will sign it. But I want you to think about some of what's going to happen. We are about to cut child poverty in this country in half. This is historic legislation, and the process is what it is, but the result is what we were after, and we got results this morning.
Can you talk about the minimum wage? Were you disappointed that that didn't go through?
We're going to continue to fight. John and I have been in the fight for years as activists, and now that we're United States Senators, that won't change. America deserves a living wage. Workers deserve a raise. It's the right thing to do for workers, because when they get relief, they buy, food, baby diapers, coats. It's the right thing to do for workers, but it's also the smart thing to do for the economy, and we won't rest until we get $15 minimum wage.
Let me just say, we're going to keep fighting for that $15 minimum wage, and this is the most substantial economic relief package for working class and middle class Americans ever passed. Thousands of dollars of direct economic relief and tax credits for Georgia families, more than $4 billion to reopen schools safely here in Georgia. We secured $2 billion for Medicaid expansion in this state. That will transform public health in Georgia.
Hey, we're going to pivot over to CBS. Channel, please go ahead.
Obviously, this was made possible by a huge voter turnout from January. Currently in the Georgia legislature, there is a law that some think is going to secure voting, others think it's going to disenfranchise people that are trying to vote. Do y'all have any comment on that bill?
There is no question that certain politicians under the Gold Dome are engaged in voter suppression. That's what passed a few days ago. It's a voter suppression bill. It's unfortunate that politicians who didn't like the outcome of what happened in November and in January instead of adjusting their message to where the voters are, they're trying to cherry pick their voters. It will not stand, which is why we're going to pass the For the People Act, which will expand voting, not restrict voting. We're going to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and the stakes on that are so large that for us to get that done in the Senate, all options are on the table.
The amount of money that families are slated to get, do you think it's enough?
This is, again, the most substantial economic relief for working class and middle class families ever passed in legislation. And this bill will become law. Thousands of dollars for working and middle class families in direct economic relief and tax credits. And we held the line on that to ensure that Georgia families get what they need. We fought hard to ensure that Georgia families get what they need, and Georgia families will get the economic relief that they need to stay on their feet in this crisis. And we have turned the corner with this legislation in this pandemic. We passed this legislation because Georgia voters elected us to do so, and we secured the Senate majority. But we do encourage everybody to continue to wear masks, to practice social distancing, to follow CDC guidelines as we continue to battle this pandemic.
And when it is your opportunity to do so, by all means, get the vaccine.
That's all the time we have for today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.